Welcome to the show where tattoos meets badass eats and boozy drinks. I'm your host, Daniel Verhagen. To all my friends, family, and foes, because we all know they're watching, welcome to Tatted in the Kitchen. Alright, welcome back to Tatted in the Kitchen. I'm your host, Daniel Verhagen, and today we're going to be making one of my personal favorites, a tequila lime fried chicken sandwich with a smoked paprika coating on it. It's going to be amazing. All right, so first of all, what we're going to start off with is we're going to flatten out this chicken breast. I got it over here. Don't worry about the cross-contamination. I'm really careful between the vegetables and the chicken. We got some chicken here. We're going to flatten that out. We're going to brine it, and then also what we're going to do is we're going to make the tequila lime coleslaw as well, which is going to be, it's super delicious. You get the smoked paprika in there afterwards. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna brine that for a day. I do have my trusty Tatted in the Kitchen cookbook as well that I'm gonna follow along because there is a variation of this in there. If you haven't picked it up already, it's either at the link in the description or at the link in my bio, depending on where you're watching this. All right, so first of all, what we're gonna do, we're gonna flatten out this chicken breast before we brine it. So we got our chicken breast here. I'm gonna grab some of my parchment paper right over here. So we got our parchment paper. We're gonna put that over the chicken breast. And if you've never flattened out a chicken breast, one moment, I will show you how to do that right now and explain as I do it. So, we've got this trusty mallet. It is used for cooking, not anything else. So on one side we have our flat side, which is used primarily for chicken, and then on the other side you're going to use this primarily for red meat. It's a rougher side, it has some light spikes on it, because what we're doing when we're flattening out a chicken breast, we're putting parchment paper over top of it, because when you're flattening out a chicken breast for anything, whether that's grilling, frying, etc., what you're doing is you're not ripping apart the fibers in the chicken, right? So chicken, like most meat or all meat, has fibers in it, and this sharper side of the mallet and spiky side of the mallet is really great for red meat, which is a lot tougher. The fibers are a lot tougher, kind of self-explanatory, whereas chicken not so much. So we use the flat side. All right, so we're gonna give that some wax. Nothing too crazy. Again, we're not ripping apart the fibers in the chicken, and the parchment paper is really gonna help with that. If you're wondering at this point, why do we flatten out a chicken breast? It's so that it cooks more evenly, right? Because it's evenly distributed. It's not as thick. If you know a chicken breast, it can be thicker in some areas over others, right? So now it's all roughly patted down. It's about the same width across. Lift that up. I'll throw this in the sink for now, and I'll set the mallet aside as we'll have to clean that later. We don't want to cross-contaminate anything, but you can see there it's a pretty flat chicken breast. I don't know if you can see that, but this was pretty raised up previously, all right? So from there, what we're gonna do, we're gonna make the brine for the chicken, all right? And we're gonna brine this overnight. In the cookbook, I do have the chicken breast brining for about 4 to 6 hours. I wanna have a little more flavor in it, so this time I'm actually gonna brine it for a little bit longer. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna start off with our Dijon mustard right here. We're gonna do about a tablespoon of that, and I'll just put that in the container where we're gonna be brining the chicken. I'll just mix it all in there just to not use too many dishes. Easier cleanup, and we all like that. So that's about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. We're gonna do about a tablespoon of honey as well. The Dijon mustard, you can use any type of Dijon. I like the whole grain Dijon. It's really great. Just has a lot more flavor to it, a lot more character, great flavor profile. And then we're gonna use some olive oil, again, about a tablespoon of olive oil. You can dump that in there. And then we need about a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic. I like mine a little bit garlicky, so I do have this large nug of garlic. I'm gonna use half of this for the for our chicken brine, but then I'm gonna use the other half for our coleslaw as well. So we're gonna mince that up, about a quarter teaspoon. You can just mince it up nice, and This is a little bit more than a quarter teaspoon, but I do like mine a little bit more garlicky, but if you do like something a little bit more neutral, then just go for the quarter teaspoon, minced garlic, all right? And if you do want the ingredients that are kind of for everybody, as opposed to, for me, I like a little bit more flavor, a little bit more spice, but if you do want the ingredients, those will be in the description of this video on YouTube as well. Yeah, so there we go. Garlic is nice and minced up. We'll throw that in the brine. And then from there, we are going to get into, we're gonna do a quarter teaspoon dried oregano. So we have my trusty measuring stick. We're gonna do quarter teaspoon. Again, I would stick to a quarter teaspoon for this, for oregano, just because too much oregano can really ruin a dish. And a quarter teaspoon is actually a lot when you factor in a dried spice, like a dried oregano. So we're gonna do now about a quarter teaspoon salt. So sorry for the loudness, I gotta get that fixed. Looks a little crusty in there, not to gross you out, but yeah, just the dried salt, but gotta fix that. Anyways, so we have our brine in here. I'm not gonna mix it up beforehand, I'm just gonna mix it up with the chicken breast. So we're just gonna roll it around. You're gonna make sure the chicken breast is nice and covered in all the ingredients there. Let's get it all nice and covered. Can already smell it. It's always great when you can smell the brine flavor. All right. So we have that all covered up. So what I'm gonna do, as I said, I'm gonna let this sit overnight in the fridge. We've already had it flattened out for tomorrow when we start to cook it. Stay tuned for that, please. And yeah, so we got this chicken breast brined. I will put this in the fridge now. And always, 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 after you handle meat, wash your hands. So I'm gonna put this is what we use for meat. I'm just gonna put this in the sink, just so we don't use it accidentally for the vegetables when we're making the coleslaw. One moment. You always don't want to forget to wash your hands as well. All right, so now on to the coleslaw. Lots of fun. So I'm gonna grab a container for the coleslaw. Got our trusting container. We don't really need more than this, okay? So the cookbook calls for a quarter cup diced green cabbage and a quarter cup diced red cabbage. So this is really great, and this is all gonna stick together with some mayonnaise. So I'm gonna roughly do this. Coleslaw is one of those ingredients that you really can kind of rough it out. So we got our green cabbage here. I'll move this out of the way so that you can see. Again, we're just roughly chopping this. It's coleslaw, it's, you know, fried chicken. It's one of those things that you have at a barbecue. This is leveled up a little bit with the smoked paprika and the tequila and lime, but really, you know, a fried chicken sandwich, it's supposed to be messy, right? It's supposed to be messy, so we don't have to be exact with these ingredients. Let's call that a quarter cup. Let's get another, about the same amount of red cabbage, all right? So we'll just dice these up together. You want to have it nice and, depending on the type of coleslaw that you're looking for, some people like a really fine coleslaw where it's very liquidy. I personally like a coleslaw to be chunky, almost like a salad. So I like to leave it a little bit more in the coleslaw, keep it a little bit chunky. All right, so we'll throw that into our container as well. Now we're gonna dice up the other half of the garlic nug, the other half that I used in the chicken brine. We're gonna dice this up nice and finely. And again, I do have some of the cabbage left, the red and the green cabbage on the cutting board here. So I'm actually just dicing that up with the garlic just to make sure the garlic is diced into small enough pieces. Just because for a coleslaw, you want it to be garlicky, but you don't want to have, you know, big chunks of garlic, right? So we're just gonna make sure that's all finely diced up. Again, you can use garlic powder for this. However, I prefer, again, as I said, to have a more chunky coleslaw. So even though the garlic is more finely diced, it does add a little bit more character as opposed to just using a garlic powder. Right, so that's all nice and finely diced. So we'll put the rest of that with the red and green cabbage in to our little mixing / marinating container. And then from there, we're gonna add oregano again. So we're gonna do about the same amount. So that's 1/4 teaspoon is what we did before for the chicken brine. So we're gonna do the same for the coleslaw. If I can find that's the thing about these. They're really handy to have them all on one, but they're super hard to find the exact one you're looking for. So we got 1/4 teaspoon. If anybody comes up with a business idea to circumvent that, I am all in. All right, so we got our 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano there. And then we're gonna add some liquid to the coleslaw because that is needed. So this is the lime and tequila part of it. So we're gonna do the juice of 2 limes in there. There is 1/2 of the first and then the rest of the first lime. And then we're gonna get into the second one. All right, and then we're gonna squeeze the second lime in there. There's 1, and there's 2. All right, and then coming up now, we are gonna do the recipe does call 1/2 cup tequila blanco. I started using, as opposed to tequila blanco, I started using the tequila reposado from Terramana, which is Dwayne Johnson's tequila. Personally, I don't like the tequila blanco by Terramana, but I love the reposado as well as the añejo that you can get in select stores. It's really great. So yeah, I don't know what they did with the gold tequila, that's the reposado and the añejo, but they do it right. Dwayne Johnson knows. So we're gonna get a little measuring cup here. Let's call it, so this is gonna be 1/2 cup tequila. Again, we're using the Terramana reposado. So we're gonna do 1/2 cup in there for marinating. That's a little less than 1/2 cup, but I don't think we really need more than that. All right. Just based on the ingredients, you can do 1/2 cup depending on your preferences. I'm gonna do about, I would say that was about maybe 1/3 or a little between 1/3 and 1/2, let's say. So we have our tequila lime here. What I'm gonna do in the cookbook, I didn't do this simply for the fact that I like the I like the plain veggies personally in a coleslaw as opposed to a very creamy coleslaw. But for this time, I'm gonna actually add some mayonnaise into the coleslaw. And I forgot to open this. Brand new mayo. You're witnessing it first. All right. Let's see if I can pull this off with my lime and tequila filled fingers. Yeah. I can't seem to get it off. I'll poke a hole. We'll cheat. All right, there we go. So we're gonna get into the mayonnaise now, which, as I said, in a lot of cases is pretty common for coleslaw, but in the cookbook, I actually didn't use mayonnaise for the fact that I really like that, that I think I topped it, looks like, and looking at it now with some spicy mayo, which is really common for a fried chicken. But however, I'm actually gonna put the mayo in the coleslaw this time. So I'm gonna do, I would say probably about maybe 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup mayo. Again, we're not gonna be too precise. It looks gross now, but I promise it's gonna taste great. So we got that. It's about, I would say 1/4 to 1/2 cup. We're gonna mix that up with a fork just to make sure we get all of the ingredients. Again, I know it looks kind of gross now, but I promise it's gonna taste great once we strain this out and tomorrow, it's gonna be awesome, all right? So, and that is the coleslaw. It looks really, really watery now, but we're actually gonna strain it out tomorrow, all right? And then it's gonna be really tasty, all right? So I'm gonna put this in the fridge and I will see you tomorrow. Hi everyone, we're back. We're making fried chicken sandwiches. We got the chicken is brined, it was flattened yesterday. We got the coleslaw, it's all marinated. We're gonna strain that out. It's gonna be delicious. We're gonna do some spicy mayo there on top of the sandwich. It's gonna be great. So, what do we got? What are we doing first of all? So what we have to do is we gotta coat the chicken and then we gotta bread the chicken, right? And that's where the smoked paprika comes in. Remember, we're frying the chicken. So I got some high flash point oil. I'm using canola oil. I know it's not the healthiest, but it gets the job done. So I'm gonna be frying that up over here. We got the heat going. We're turning that on. I'm gonna preheat the oven because we're also gonna toast the bun. I'll just do the oven to 350 here. We got the bake, 350. We'll keep that going. Keep her going. And then not sure why this was there by the burner. That is unsafe. I will do the Antoni Porowski, and if you've seen Queer Eye, and have it over my shoulder, all right? That was an impromptu moment. You heard it here first. So we are going to, what we're gonna do, we're gonna get the chicken, we're gonna get the coleslaw out, all right? One moment. So we got our chicken, it's brined. We got the coleslaw, it's mixed, it's marinated, it's great. So we are gonna make the breading mixture first, all right? So this is what we're gonna kind of dredge the chicken through, and then what we're gonna do after that is we're gonna put it through the breading, all right? So for that, we're gonna take 2 eggs. I'll throw the shells in the sink for now. Here at Tatted in the Kitchen, we're not too serious. As you probably know, if you're my friend, you know I don't take life all that seriously, depending on what it is. So we've got a couple of eggs. We're gonna scramble those up. Again, I'm following my trusty Tatted in the Kitchen cookbook here. This is a variation of the fried chicken sandwich in my cookbook. Again, link in bio or in the description. You can purchase it there. So we got 2 eggs. We're gonna scramble those up. Give her nice and scrambled. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do 1/4 cup lemon juice. So we've got our trusty fresh lemon here. So we're gonna cut that down the middle. 1/4 cup, I would say that's about 1 lemon. So we're just gonna squeeze that all out. I'll deal with that later. But what we are gonna do for the breading, we're gonna need a little bit of lemon zest. So I'm gonna keep this side of the lemon, all right? And then I can see why Antoni does this. It's so handy. Okay, so then we're gonna do a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Say that 3 times fast. Tablespoon of Worcestershire. So got a tablespoon right here. I'm gonna go glug, 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 glug. All right. Gonna mix that up. We got 2 scrambled eggs already. And then we're gonna do 1/4 cup olive oil. We're gonna do virgin olive oil to stay healthy. So we're doing a 1/4 cup. Got some measuring apparatuses here. We got our 1/4 cup. This is just gonna help the breading mixture stick to the chicken once we add that in. So we've added that to the mixture. It's not gonna look too great now. You can kind of see it looks like some oily egg mixture. It doesn't look great. Anyways. So that's almost at temperature, I can imagine. So, and don't worry, I'll show you a tutorial. If you've never laid chicken in for frying, I'll show you how to do that. You just lay it away from you, okay? So that's the mixture that we're gonna be essentially coating the chicken in to have the breading mixture stick to it. So we're gonna get 2 cups next of all-purpose flour. I got a 1 cup measuring cup here. Looks like there's, oh, coffee bean. So I didn't see that. I got some flour over here, some all-purpose flour. Bring that over. We're not mixing this with the egg mixture. That's why I have another bowl, all right? So this is a new mixture. So we got 1 and 2, all right? We're just putting the chicken in now, dredging it through, coating it. About 2 cups, don't have to be that exact. So we've got that, and then what's next? We're gonna be doing about a 1/4 cup of lemon zest, okay? So we got a grater here, also great for zesting. So 1/4 cup of lemon zest. Again, try not to grate your fingers. It's very easy to do. No, I didn't get myself, that's good. So we're doing 1/4 cup lemon zest. It's probably gonna be the whole peel. So we got that. Just make sure to wipe the inside of the grater. You'll get everything there. I would say it's about a 1/4 cup. Could do more, but that's fine. So we got 1/4 cup lemon zest, and then we are gonna do 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika. This, if you haven't had, that's the French side, we go to the English side. Smoked paprika, if you've never had it, if you're doing anything barbecue related, it's so good, it's so delicious. All right, don't sleep on smoked paprika, it's great. So we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of that. Got a tablespoon here. I'm gonna do 1 and 2, all right? Again, the more flavor, the better. And then we're gonna do about a tablespoon of salt. So, it's a close one. We're gonna scrape that, it's about a tablespoon. We're gonna mix that all up, the lemon zest, the smoked paprika, and you're gonna get a ready white mixture, like a white powder with some red tinge to it. And that's exactly what you want. You can see once it's all mixed, that's perfect, all right? I don't know if you can see that. It's almost pink, it becomes like almost a pink powder. It's really good, that's exactly what you want. So we got our mixture here, we've got our breading. So we're gonna take our chicken and we're gonna make it happen, all right? So we got our chicken breast. We're gonna throw this in the egg mixture. We're gonna coat it really generously. Extremely generously, actually, if you will. So we're gonna make sure that's all coated. Just the better it's coated, the better the breading is gonna stick to it, all right? So we've coated that, and now onto the breading. We're gonna pop that in there. Had a little breading explosion there, my apologies. I have to clean that up later. Yeah, so we're just gonna make sure the chicken's well and breaded. We're gonna toss that in there. Again, had it in the kitchen. We're not too clean, we're not overly organized, you know, we get stuff done the way we get it done. Yeah, so there we go. This chicken breast is really well breaded. Sometimes I gotta go back to the egg mixture and then go again, but honestly, I'm pretty happy with the way this breaded, and yeah, it's gonna be great. And again, the breading mixture, if you mixed everything right with the smoked paprika, the lemon zest, the breading mixture should have a pink tinge to it. All right, so I'll hold that up for you. You can see it, looks great, all right? So I'm gonna wash my hands from that, and then I'm gonna get some tongs, and we're gonna go and put this in the good old fryer in the oil that's frying up next to me, all right? Stay tuned. So here's our chicken breast. You can see it's well covered. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you over here. So again, we're gonna take this, you can see it's hot. We're gonna lay it away from us, okay? So we're gonna do that. And she's gonna boil. And then as it's boiling, you don't want it to sputter up, especially if you have an open flame like I do. So we're gonna cover that. It's about 9:26 right now. We're gonna wait until, we're gonna give it about 6 minutes aside. All right, so while that chicken is frying up, what we're gonna do, it is a little bit messy here. I'm gonna clean up after. I'm gonna clean up what I can now just to make sure everything is covered. I do have what buns we use, so what I love to use for fried chicken sandwiches is a Portuguese Sweet Bun. Okay, you can get these, I know I used to get them when I lived in Ontario. You can get them at Farm Boy. I found this one at, I think it was Safeway here in Vancouver. It's great. Yeah, Portuguese sweet buns, don't sleep on them, especially for fried chicken sandwiches. Anything that's got a little kick to it, it's great. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna drain the coleslaw. If I can find a strainer of some kind. It looks like I'm short on strainers, but what I can do, one moment, I can go to my trusty bar cupboard and get a bar tool to strain the coleslaw out. I'm not sure why I don't have a strainer of some kind. So, looks like I gotta make a trip to Walmart. So, you got a strainer here, and as I said, we're just gonna strain the coleslaw out. You can be pretty loose with the strainer. You're gonna see you're gonna get a lot of the liquid out, but we're gonna keep this really nice and tasty tequila lime cabbage. We got red cabbage, we got green cabbage, we got some mayo in there. And dump that out. We're gonna go again, just to make sure we can get a lot of the liquid out, just so when we do put it on the sandwich, it's not all making the bun sloppy, right? We wanna add flavor, we don't wanna add a sloppy texture, right? So we're gonna dump that out. You can toss that. This was just where I brought the chicken in. Toss that, get rid of that later. So this is going to, go on the chicken. We have, so we got the tequila lime coleslaw. What I can do now while the chicken is still cooking, we're gonna make a nice, spicy mayo to top the chicken. It's gonna be great, all right? So I've got spicy mayo here. And what I did find as well is some pickles. We can't forget about pickles. I love pickles on a fried chicken sandwich. Oh my goodness, pickled and fried chicken. Oh, it's good. So we just got some Bix here, just some Bix regular pickles. You can get baby dill if you want. But yeah, so for a spicy mayo, which we're gonna make and set the coleslaw aside. For a spicy mayo, it's literally just mayo, hot sauce, and red chili flakes. Super simple. I prefer to use this hot sauce here, which is a Valentina hot sauce. Sometimes, depending on the store, especially if they have a large international or Mexican food section, you can find an extra spicy Valentina hot sauce, and oh my goodness, that hits the spot. But when I was shopping, they just have the regular. It's fine. It's all good. I don't need any more spice in my life, so it's fine. Let's try and find in my never-ending drawer of spices here. Let's try and find some red chili flakes. That took too long. I got them. I use these way too often for it to take that long. Okay, so we got some red chili flakes, we got some hot sauce, we got some mayo. I know it looks like a mess here, but you know, if you're cooking, you know, you're not doing it right if you don't create a mess, right? So I know some people in some higher end restaurants might agree with me, but this is tatted in the kitchen. All right, I'm doing this out of my apartment in Vancouver, so oh well. So for our spicy mayo, we don't need a lot because we're just topping the chicken. So let's just gonna use this little bowl here. Just gonna give a squeeze. You can do whatever ratio you want. As you probably imagined or probably have heard, or if you know me, I love spice. So I might do a 2-to-1 ratio of mayo to hot sauce. So 2 parts mayo, 1 part hot sauce. You might want to do more mayo if you'd like. You can do about a teaspoon of chili flakes as well. Get it, as I said previously, I like a little texture in my sauces, just like the coleslaw. So we're gonna mix that up. Looks tasty. It's got a nice color to it. You can see it's a little chonky, which I like. It's just like me, a little chonky but spicy. And yeah, so we got some spicy mayo, we got our coleslaw. And this chicken, actually I'm gonna flip it over because it is, I think it's been about like 26 or 28. It's been about between 4 and 6 minutes. I said 12 minutes total, so let's flip it. See what it looks like. I can tell you that chicken is almost done. Here, let me show you, one moment. All right, so this chicken is almost done, as I said. So we've got, I'm gonna take the lid off here. As you can see, it's, we got a lot of oil here. And you can tell when something's almost done if the oil is starting to not bubble as much. So you can see this chicken is almost done. Even though the outside looks crispy, the inside still needs to cook a little bit longer, okay? So I'm gonna dunk this back in. I'm gonna leave that for another maybe 3 minutes. And you don't want to do it for too long though, because when it does, when the chicken, after you take the chicken out and set it to cool, it actually continues to cook. So don't leave it in for too long. All right, so as I said, that chicken's almost done. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna throw these buns in to the oven. Oven's at 350. I'm gonna throw these in, get them nice and crispy. Oh, excuse me. Getting hungry. So I'm gonna throw these buns in. You can put them on the middle rack face down, especially if you're baking. If you're baking, unless you're broiling, that's a different story. You can put them on the top, facing up. But yeah, in the meantime as well, I would say we're gonna add some pickles to the fried chicken sandwich and dice these up. You can do them, I think it's julienne, it's called, julienne, if you will. Sliced just lengthwise here. You're gonna slice them, try and slice them nice and thin. Especially for pickles, like it's just gonna taste better. Not a lot of people like huge amounts of pickles, you know? It's kind of an overwhelming flavor at times. The good thing this is a fried chicken sandwich, so it's not gonna be too, we got other flavors going on, let's say. We got some side flavors. So we got our pickles here all diced up. We got our spicy mayo. We've got our coleslaw, which is ready. Now what we're gonna do, I think that chicken's almost done. It took a little bit faster than I thought, so I'm gonna bring it out and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do, how we're gonna plate it. We're gonna let it cool on a drying rack as well. I'm just gonna make room for that right now. So I got a pan here and a drying rack, so we're gonna put the chicken on that. So it's gonna just drip onto the pan. Always we wanna make sure we turn our stove top off. We don't wanna leave that on. So this chicken is done. Oh yeah, it's got, keep in mind as well, the chicken might look a little bit burnt, but that's actually the red color from the smoked paprika, all right? And inside it's gonna be super juicy. So that's actually what you want, that like really heavily almost brown outside, but it's not quite burnt if you can look at it really closely. It's red, but it's not burnt. And that's exactly what we want. That means the inside, it's enclosed the inside, it's enclosed the flavor, and it's gonna be really tender. It's gonna be really tasty. So, the bun is currently cooking. It's toasting right now. It's probably gonna be done really soon. I'm gonna get a plate and I'm gonna show you how we plate this monster, all right? Because it is a monster. And, I mean, so much so, it takes a medium-sized plate. It's not a small plate. Normally you can do one sandwich on a small plate, but you know, it's a monster. We need a medium-sized plate for this bad boy. All right, so we got our chicken here. That's cooling off a little bit. What you want to do, you don't just want it to cool. You also want to make sure you get the oil off. You don't want like an oily chicken breast. That's gross. Let's sorry, that was pretty sassy, but all right. So we got the buns off. To grab the buns, don't grab them with your hand. I was gonna use a mitt. I'll just use the tongs actually. Let's do that to grab these guys. Oh yeah, they're nice and crispy. They're just like a nice little golden brown to them around the edge, all right? That's all you want. Just a nice little golden brown on the edge. Which one's the top, which one's the bottom. That's great. So yeah, we got our buns here. You can see, I don't know if you can see that. It's crispy to the touch, but it's not burnt. It's barely even brown on the inside, but it is still crispy to the touch, and that's exactly what we want. So this has had a chance to cool. So I'm gonna put that on our bun here. I wanna put it on the bottom. That's great. What I would recommend is I would put the flat toppings first, right? Because you don't want it to overflow, because that's, you know, it's harder to eat. So first of all, and again, you can put cheese on this. I would recommend if you are gonna put cheese, put a white cheese on it over an orange cheese. Maybe like an Asiago or some, maybe like, I guess you could do like a marble cheese on it, or like a Monterey Jack, something with a little kick to it. But personally, I like to go au naturel without any cheese on this bad boy. It's up to you. So we've got, yeah, so as I said, you wanna put your flat toppings first. You got your pickles. Next up, we're actually gonna do the coleslaw next. This is the tequila lime coleslaw. This is where the sandwich gets part of its name. This adds all the flavor to it, especially with a tequila reposado, especially with that kind of gold flavor. It's a little more smooth. You get less of the harshness of the tequila and more of the, I guess the flavor to it. It has just more flavor to it. You get the lime in there. It's really tasty, especially you do this with a tequila-based cocktail as well, like a Paloma, let's say. Oh my goodness, it's all happening. All the tequila is happening at once. It's great. We love tequila. So we got our tequila lime coleslaw on top. We got the pickles underneath. We got the delicious chicken underneath. We've got our spicy mayo here on top, and what I'll do is I'll just drizzle that on. Again, I like it spicy, so I'm gonna do quite a bit of this. All right, and there you have it, folks. Push that sandwich down. Let me show you what it looks like up close. As I promised, the sandwich, the finished product. Oh, here she is. And if you're wondering, Dan, I want to get a cross section. Of course, we don't do a sandwich without giving you a cross section. Look at this. Look at that. Look at the steam coming out of that. You're getting all the layers. You're getting that juicy chicken. Look at that. That juicy chicken. Remember how I said the outside looked burnt? No, that's just the redness from the smoked paprika. The inside is super delicious. It's super tender. You know, we got the pickles. We got the tequila lime coleslaw. Everything's coming together a little on my finger. Oh my God. Even the toppings are just good. Anyways, enjoy this. If you want to learn more, subscribe. We're doing this every week. We're doing different things. If you got suggestions for recipes, send them to me, whatever means, DM me, whatever, slide in my DMs with recipes. I love that. Yeah. Anyways, come back Wednesday, next Wednesday, got another recipe for you. Stay tuned for this coming Friday. We do food recipes on Wednesdays, drink recipes on Fridays, all right? Plus much more to come soon, okay? Have a good night, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.